Welcome back to the channel USD Coins, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and numismatics. Today, we have an incredibly special topic that has captivated collectors and treasure hunters alike: the 1945 Liberty 1-cent wheat penny. This is not just any penny. This particular coin is estimated to be worth a staggering $21 million due to its unique errors and mistakes. Yes, you heard that right, $21 million for a 1-cent coin. So, sit back, relax, and let us take you on this incredible journey into the mysteries and marvels of this remarkable piece of American history. The story of the 1945 Liberty 1-cent wheat penny begins with its design, which features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse. The penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday and was produced until 1958. What sets the 1945 penny apart from the others are the myriad errors and peculiarities that have turned this coin into a numismatic legend. One of the most notable errors on the 1945 penny is the double die. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck more than once by the die, creating a slightly offset duplicate image on the coin's surface. This mistake can make the inscriptions and designs appear doubled, and on the 1945 penny, this error is particularly pronounced. The doubling is especially evident on the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," making it one of the most sought-after errors among collectors. In addition to the double die error, some 1945 pennies exhibit off-center strikes. An off-center strike happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned within the coin press, resulting in a design that is noticeably shifted from its intended position. Coins with significant off-center strikes can be extremely valuable, especially if the date is still visible. Another fascinating mistake found on some 1945 pennies is the presence of clipped planchets. A clipped planchet error occurs when a portion of the coin blank is missing, creating a coin with a curved or straight edge that looks like a small piece has been cut off. These coins are rarer and can command high prices in the numismatic market due to their unique appearance and scarcity. Moreover, some 1945 pennies have been discovered with lamination errors. A lamination error happens when there are impurities or cracks in the coin's metal planchet, resulting in peeling or flaking on the coin's surface. These imperfections can range from minor to severe and add an additional layer of interest and value for collectors. Yet, the most significant and valuable error of all on the 1945 Liberty 1-cent wheat penny is the appearance of a wrong planchet. Occasionally, pennies were struck on planchets intended for other denominations or coins of different compositions. The most famous example is the 1945 penny struck on a silver dime planchet, a highly unusual and exceedingly rare mistake. This incredible error renders the coin extremely valuable and one of the most prized possessions in any collection. Collectors must also look for coins with strong strike quality and minimal wear to achieve top dollar. The grade of the coin, which ranges from poor to mint state, plays a crucial role in its valuation. Coins that have been preserved in pristine condition with sharp details and original luster will attract the highest premiums at auction. In summary, the 1945 Liberty 1-cent wheat penny is a true numismatic treasure with a multitude of potential errors and peculiarities that can enhance its value exponentially. From double dies to off-center strikes, clipped planchets, lamination errors, and wrong planchets, the variety of mistakes found on this coin is nothing short of extraordinary. Each error adds a layer of uniqueness and rarity, making the coin highly coveted by collectors worldwide. Its staggering estimated value of $21 million underscores the allure and enduring fascination with this extraordinary piece of American coinage history. Today, we dive into a truly remarkable story: the 1951 South Liberty 1-center wheat penny, a coin that has captivated collectors and investors alike. Throughout this discussion, we will uncover why this particular coin, despite its modest face value of 1 cent, can reach an astonishing value of up to $18 million. We'll delve into its minting errors, its unique mistakes, and all the intriguing possibilities that make this coin so incredibly valuable. Imagine holding a tiny copper coin that was intended to circulate for just a penny but might now hold the value of a grand estate. That is the astonishing reality of the 1951 South Liberty 1-cent wheat penny, one of the most mysterious and coveted coins in numismatic circles. What could make such an everyday object so priceless? Let's explore this together. First, let's set the scene of the coin itself. The 1951 South Liberty 1 center wheat penny was produced at the San Francisco Mint, indicated by the small S mint mark found beneath the date on the coin. The design of the coin features the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks surrounding the denomination on the reverse. This design was introduced back in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and continued until 1958, making these pennies a common sight in everyday transactions during that period, but commonality is where the story of this particular 1951 S penny takes a dramatic turn. When we talk about errors and mistakes that can skyrocket the value of a coin, we mean things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and other such anomalies. Every small misstep at the minting process can potentially make a coin rare and highly sought after. The 1951 S Liberty wheat penny that might be valued at up to $18 million is not your ordinary coin. This one bears a suite of errors so rare that they stand as a testament to the unpredictable and intriguing nature of coin production. To appreciate this, we need to understand the minting process itself. Coins are struck from blank planchets using hardened steel dies. These dies bear the coin's design and transfer it onto the blank discs with tremendous force. Occasionally, mistakes happen. A misaligned die could produce an off-center coin, a cracked die might leave a telltale raised ridge across the design, repunching a mint mark could leave a shadow or double image of the S mint mark. One of the most extraordinary kinds of error is the doubled die, where the die itself is engraved improperly, creating doubled images on the coins it strikes. Imagine the numeral of the date or the lettering appearing to have a shadow or duplicate right alongside it. This doubling is often very subtle, visible only under magnification, but its rarity and the fascination of collectors can make its value skyrocket. Similarly, an off-center strike can leave the coin's design askew, with part of the coin blank and part of the design missing or shifted. These misaligned coins can look peculiar, but to a collector, that peculiarity is an asset. And then we have the repunched mint mark errors, where the S mint mark on our 1951 penny is stamped more than once in slightly different positions. Even the most minute divergence in the placement of the mint mark can intrigue numismatists who appreciate these anomalies as historical quirks. The specific 1951 S penny that holds the potential to be so valuable would need to have a combination of these errors. It might possess a double die on the obverse that affects Lincoln's profile or the date. The mint mark could have been repunched or doubled as well, creating a slight but clear offset that a trained eye can discern. The coin might also be struck off-center, making the design appear lopsided, and perhaps it even has a die crack that is visible across its surface. All of these errors make each example of this penny unique, one of a kind, which drives up the desirability for serious collectors. Another factor that contributes to its enormous potential value is the condition of the coin. Coins that survive the decades without heavy wear, discoloration, or damage are considered to be in a higher grade. The scale ranges from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS, 70. A coin that bears all these errors and is also in near-perfect condition would be exponentially rarer and more valuable. When numismatists evaluate such coins, they look at every tiny detail under magnification, comparing them to other known errors and variations. They document every flaw, every doubling, every shifted numeral or mint mark, creating a meticulous record that supports the coin's pedigree and its value. This 1951 South Liberty 1 center wheat penny is also steeped in historical significance. The early 1950s in America were a period of post-war recovery and economic prosperity. Coins like the 1951 S penny were part of everyday life, passed from hand to hand, jingling in pockets and making change at the corner store. To have one of these coins survive unscathed and to bear the distinctive errors that make it so unique is to possess a tiny artifact of history. Collectors often pay extraordinary sums to own a part of this history, especially one that is so incredibly rare. Auctions for error coins can attract bids that seem astronomical to the casual observer. However, to the serious collector or investor, a coin like the 1951 S penny with its particular set of errors is a treasure trove. The value of coins is also driven by supply and demand. There are only so many of these error coins, and as more collectors become aware of their existence, the demand increases. This can cause the value to rise dramatically. It is this scarcity combined with historical importance and the fascination with the errors themselves that drive the value into the millions, but this coin is more than an investment, it is also a story. Every nick, every doubled numeral, every off-center strike tells a story of a moment at the mint when something went just a bit wrong, creating a small but significant piece of numismatic history. Collectors treasure these coins because they connect us to the past and remind us that even in an age of machines and precision, human oversight can create something wonderful and unpredictable. If you're curious about what to look for if you come across a 1951 S penny, pay close attention to the mint mark, the date, and Lincoln's portrait. Study them under good light with a magnifier. Look for doubling, look for slight shifts in the S mint mark, look for any signs that the design is not perfectly centered. Even tiny irregularities can mean that you have stumbled upon one of these legendary coins, and while most of the 1951 S pennies you come across will simply be worth a few cents, the thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors looking. The possibility that one might find an $18 million treasure in an old coin collection, in a jar of pocket change, or tucked away in a family heirloom is what fuels the passion of numismatics. Every collector dreams of discovering one of these legendary coins. Every numismatist hopes to examine and authenticate one, to add to the documented examples of these rare errors and mistakes. And every enthusiast enjoys the rich history and the stories that these coins tell. We're going to explore one of the most famous and valuable coins in United States history, a coin that, at first glance, might seem incredibly common, but that holds immense significance, rarity, and a shocking value of $14 million. That's right, we're going to talk all about the 1958 D Liberty 1-cent wheat penny from the USA. But this is not just any penny. This is a penny with mistakes and errors that make it one of the most incredible coins ever to surface in numismatic circles. Throughout this discussion, I'll take you on a journey into the world of coins and show you exactly why this tiny, overlooked object could be worth millions. Now, picture yourself reaching into your pocket or into an old jar at home and pulling out a coin that looks like any other. It's just a single 1-cent coin with the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and those classic wheat stalks encircling the back. You probably wouldn't give it a second glance. But hidden within some of these coins are features so rare, so unexpected, that they can elevate a coin from mere pocket change into one of the most coveted pieces for collectors across the world. The 1958 D Liberty 1-cent wheat penny is precisely one of those coins. It's a treasure that numismatists would travel far and wide to see and bid for at auction. To appreciate this coin and its story, let's go back in time to the year 1958. The United States was in a period of tremendous change. It was the tail end of the 1950s, a post-war era full of promise and growth. In that year, the Denver Mint produced millions upon millions of 1-cent coins. These were the Lincoln wheat pennies, so named because the reverse of the coin features two stylized stalks of wheat surrounding the words, 1 cent. The obverse, of course, depicts the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln. The penny had been a staple in American commerce since 1909, celebrating the centenary of Lincoln's birth. However, not all of those coins produced at the Denver Mint were exactly the same. Some contained small errors and mistakes. Some had die cracks. Some had repunched mint marks. Occasionally, the mint would produce coins that had slightly misaligned dies or even doubled images. And while most coins with small errors would simply circulate, numismatists and sharp-eyed collectors would eventually recognize their rarity. Even though the U.S. Mint usually strives for uniformity and precision, errors happen. When they do, they can make a coin immensely valuable. What separates the 1958 D Liberty 1-cent from other pennies is precisely this perfect storm of error and rarity. Every coin that passes into circulation is supposed to be virtually identical to the one before it. But some coins slip through the cracks. In 1958 at the Denver Mint, a tiny number of coins displayed a series of errors that have captivated collectors and numismatic scholars alike. Whether it was a misaligned die, a doubling on Lincoln's profile or the lettering around him, or even the peculiar positioning of the mint mark itself, these errors created coins that were truly one of a kind. The most famous of these errors were all present on one particular coin that numismatists call the 1958 D Liberty 1-cent wheat penny. It's said to have a value reaching up to $14 million today. That price may sound shocking. After all, we're talking about a penny. But to understand this price, we need to delve into the history of coin errors and how they influence value. Normally, the face value of a 1-cent coin is just that, 1 cent. Even the most collectible coins might go for a few dollars if they're in good condition. However, the world of coin collecting doesn't work like the world of common commerce. In coin collecting, rarity is king. And rarity can come not just from the low number of coins produced, but also from mistakes, coins that weren't supposed to exist, coins that slipped past quality control, coins that hold secrets. That brings us to some of the most common types of errors that you can find on coins like this. One famous category of errors is known as doubling. This is often caused by a problem with the die that strikes the coin blank. If the die shifts slightly during the process of creating the coin's image, it can cause some elements of the coin's design, like Lincoln's portrait or the date, to appear doubled. Doubling can range from minor to quite pronounced. Coins with noticeable doubling are often incredibly prized. If you look closely at some 1958 D pennies, especially under magnification, you might see that some numbers or letters look like they appear twice. That's a key feature that collectors treasure. There are also what we call repunched mint marks. The D on a Denver minted coin is usually placed into the die by hand. Occasionally, a mint worker might misplace the punch slightly and then correct it, creating a repunched mint mark. That can make the D look like it's doubled or shifted. These coins become rarer and often far more valuable than their standard counterparts. Even a slight misplacement can intrigue collectors. Then there are errors like off-center strikes. That happens when the blank coin planchet isn't seated perfectly in the press. The resulting coin might have part of the design missing. Some coins are just slightly off-center and can still look fairly normal, while others are dramatically misaligned, creating blank areas and stretched designs. Again, these kinds of errors can make a coin stand out, and that uniqueness can make its value skyrocket. That's what happened with this legendary 1958 D Liberty 1-cent coin. It carries multiple errors at once, an exceedingly rare occurrence. Even more astonishing, the coin survived without being damaged or destroyed, and it eventually found its way into the hands of collectors who recognized its significance. Imagine that for a moment. Out of millions of coins struck that year, this one slipped into the world and remained intact for decades before someone noticed what they had. That discovery probably started simply. Perhaps a numismatist was going through a roll of pennies, looking for anything of interest. They might have had a magnifying glass and spent hours combing through coins one at a time. That's what many collectors do. They search tirelessly through pocket change and rolls from banks. Occasionally, they'll hit the jackpot. When someone finally noticed the peculiar errors on this particular coin, a combination of doubling, a repunched mint mark, and subtle die cracks, they probably realized they were holding something that could change their life. Experts would have been called in to authenticate the coin. Multiple specialists would have pored over every detail, comparing it to standard examples and other known errors. After rigorous authentication, it would have been graded at one of the major coin grading services like PCGS or NGC, and after that? Well, its fame would grow as the story spread through collecting circles. Headlines in numismatic publications, displays at major coin shows, all would contribute to its legendary status. Its scarcity would mean that serious collectors, investors, and even museums might compete to acquire it. That's how coins like this can hit the $1 million range at auction. The combination of rarity, condition, provenance, and error make it highly desirable. Once coins like this establish their provenance, a record of who owned them and when, their value often appreciates further. Even a modest collection can be elevated if it contains one of these top-tier rarities, but let's take a moment to appreciate what this means for someone who happens to find one. It might seem like a long shot, and it is, but millions of pennies were minted in the 1950s and millions still exist in jars, piggy banks, and coin rolls across the country. Every once in a while, someone stumbles upon a treasure without realizing what they have. That's part of the thrill of coin collecting. Could you imagine heading to your local coin shop or even going through your parents' change jar and seeing that unique doubling under magnification? That is the kind of discovery that fuels this hobby. Of course, it also raises questions. Why do these errors happen at all? The U.S. Mint is one of the most sophisticated and carefully controlled coin-producing facilities in the world. Even so, when you're producing millions upon millions of coins, small mechanical errors can and do happen. Dies wear out, machines misalign, and sometimes human hands make slight errors as they prepare the tools that strike the coins. Even in today's world of computerized minting, errors sneak through. And back in the 1950s, the processes were less automated. Human oversight was a more significant part of coin production, so errors were more common. That's part of what makes coins like the 1958 D Liberty 1-cent wheat penny so fascinating. They offer a tiny glimpse into the past and into the process of coinage at the time. Each scratch, each tiny double impression, tells a story. And numismatists, the collectors and scholars who study coins, delight in these stories because they offer both a puzzle to solve and a treasure to hunt. You might also wonder what separates this coin from others that might seem similar. After all, there are other pennies from other years with doubling or repunched mint marks. What gives this one its astronomical value? The answer lies in the combination of rarity and condition. It's not enough to have an error. The coin must also be preserved exceptionally well, with little wear and damage. And it must be one of only a handful known to exist with that particular combination of errors. This particular coin is so rare that it could well be one of a kind.